All right, class. Um, Welcome to the second video for your how-to. So in the first video, just to recap, we created our file for our assignment. This is saved as a PSD file or a Photoshop file. And in this video, I was going to go over a couple of the tools that will allow you to take some elements from your own photos and paste them into here so you can create your own layout for your favorite topic. Okay. Um, uh, Being able to take your own images, right? These are my own images, my own drawings, my own photographs. Like being able to take what you have and then paste it into a file that's the correct size and the correct resolution is a lot easier than opening up a random file and trying to figure out if it's the correct size. Okay. If you're not sure, you're looking at this and you're like, is it the right size? You can go here to image and you can go to canvas size. This is in pixels, but if you go to inches, there it is, 8.5 by 11. And that's the size that we're working with. Okay. So right here in your toolbar, right? Like I mentioned before, if you hover over any of these tools, Photoshop shows you a little kind of demo of what the tool does, right? So one of the basic ones is this rectangle marquee tool. I'm going to use this rectangle marquee tool. And the idea of making a selection, right? So I click and I drag and I'll go to edit, copy, right? And then I go here to my demo flyer and I go edit, paste. It is now in my flyer document. Okay. And another thing that you will notice in my layers window, and if you don't have that open, again, you can go here to window, go to layers, right? You can see that automatically, I'll tuck it back in here, automatically when I cut and I paste from one file, let's say to another, a layer is made. And here, this layer, I can turn it on and off, and I will. I'm going to double click on that file name layer 1, and I'm gonna just name it color circles, right? Something that indicates to me what it is. So I'll do that again. I just use this marquee tool, this rectangular marquee tool. I'll do it on a different photo. So here's another drawing that I did. I'm going to get my rectangular marquee tool, make a selection. Right. Doesn't have to be perfect. And I'm going to go to edit copy or command C, and then I'll go back to my layer and I can turn this off. And I'll go to edit, paste. Okay. Right. So there's my leaf drawing. Okay. So along with the rectangular marquee tool, this underneath it, I encourage you to go through all the tools and hover over them. You can also make custom shapes and selections. Here, if any of your tools have a little triangle at the corner, that means if you hold it down, you get multiple tools and you just select it, right? So there's a lot of different tools. This is a lasso tool. This lasso tool, this works with your mouse, right? Or your key, your trackpad, whatever you're using. If you need to deselect something, you can go to edit, or was it? I'm sorry, select, deselect. Okay. This underneath here, this is a really cool tool, a very popular one with students. Let me pick this here. Command plus and command minus allows you to zoom in and out. So I'm going to command plus, and I have this object selection tool. There's also a magic wand tool and a quick selection tool. But I wanted to show you this because a lot of students found this very helpful. And so I'm on my object selection tool and I get my cursor and I hover over the area that I want to select. And for the most part, it selects it, right? So like those little, the selection is what's contained in the dashed lines, okay? And so I'll show you what this looks like. I go to edit, copy. I'll go back to my demo image, okay? Turn that layer on and off, and I'll go to edit, paste, right? And we've got a little lotus flower. You'll notice, right, when I'm zoomed at a fairly, everything fits on the screen, you'll notice that the lotus flower, right, was a much smaller cut and paste. And if that's the case for anything you're copying and pasting, that image, because I took this on my phone and it wasn't saved as high res, but the difference between the sizes that it copy and pastes in is the resolution of the original image. Okay, so just so you know, if you're trying to, you know, copy and paste from an image and it seems really small to you, it could be resolution. It could be other things, but that's probably the first culprit, right? So that's the object selection tool. You can try the different tools as well. This is some stenciling that I did. So I'll do make a selection, edit, copy here, edit, paste. Okay. Another, I'm going to start closing some of these. Another tool, there's the lasso tool, there's also the polygon lasso tool. This is a very angular, lots of angles, so probably really good for squares. Probably should have done that with this one. You're freehanding it, so this is just me clicking with my mouse. So if you knew, there's no special tool involved. Right, you go back to that first position, and once you see the lines activated, it's a selection, and then you can go to copy and paste. Okay, so as you can see, I've started to build up a little bit of layers here, but they're all in my file. They haven't really interacted yet, but cut paper. We'll use the tools to start making these manipulations, okay? And so we've copied, we've pasted. What's crucial, right, is making a selection with your selection tools, copying it, let's just say, and then pasting it into your main document. Okay, so definitely try practicing doing that. I know that sometimes when I'm demoing it, it looks very fast, but I would encourage you to practice in your real life file because it's a little bit different. It's like watching a YouTube video. It's different when you actually have to do it. So we're going to go copy, go here, gonna go edit, paste. Right there it is. So it's another. All right. So now our blank document, right? It looked like this before. Now we've got a bunch of different things and elements in there, which is wonderful. So we practice copy and paste, right? We want to now start moving things around, okay? So I'm going to kind of just zoom out a little bit. I'm gonna kind of turn some of these off, and I wanna, let's say, focus on the circle one, right? These are all your decisions depending on what images you have, right? For the theme of the flyer, for my favorite things, I chose art making, like, or hobby. These are things that I enjoyed making or taking photos of, right? You've got a lot of different elements. And so I'm going to first start to transform my images, right? Some of them are very big. That could be on purpose, but sometimes you might want to move things. So I am selecting the layer that I'm on, and this first tool is my move tool. Okay, so that allows me to move things around. Okay, right now I've got, I select my layer and then I can move that object. In turn, I can also make that object hide, right? Now, obviously, there's moving and then there's making something larger or smaller. And so I'm going to select this one. All right, so this was a drawing on a white card. Obviously, when I took a picture of it, the white doesn't match this white here. I'll transform it and then I'll show you how you can kind of let that fade away without having to do too much. So if you are a drawer or you've got sketchbooks and you want to put some of that in your flyer, you can. You just need a clear picture. So you can take a picture, you can scan it in, and then you can manipulate it. Okay, so here is that image. I want to make it a little bit larger, smaller, rotate a little bit. So I'm going to go to Edit, Free Transform. Okay. And this, you can see, it is a bounding box, right? See those little anchors? For some of you, you can check to see how these controls work for you. I think for some versions in Photoshop, you don't need to hold the shift key when you're scaling up or down, and the picture does not distort. For me, if I don't hold shift, the image distorts like this. I don't want that, right? I want to keep it the way I drew it, just kind of making it larger or smaller. So I hold down the shift key whenever I am dragging it. So this is the Edit Free Transform, right? Is a way for you to make your picture or your selection, whatever's on that layer, larger or smaller. Okay. And at this point, I'm gonna get my circles as well. I'm gonna move that up. I like the texture of what it makes. Okay. And then I wanted to show you how you can make that background kind of look like it's see-through, so it goes to the white. Up here, you've got information about the layer, right? You've got the opacity. So if you want to make something fade in and out, or change increase the transparency or the opacity, this is where you would do that. Another cool thing is these are called layer effects. Okay. And when you hover over them, you can kind of see that they do different things, right? Right now, we don't have too many layers on there, but you can kind of see that here, this is my normal image. If I just scroll through all of them very quickly, and you can kind of explore here. This is the exclusion one. All of these different things react differently depending on what's on your document. Okay, so I would encourage you to definitely take a look at these different layer effects, because you might find that some of them will work for you really well, and some may not, but it's good for you to know. Okay. For your layers, I didn't mention this before, but you are able to rearrange them. Okay. So you can see that this top layer, if it's on the very top, it's the first thing I see, right? But you can put it behind other elements. So this leaf drawing is on top. Color circles is at this bottom. There's a bunch of layers underneath that you can't see. But if I wanted to put this color circles layer on top, I just have to drag it. Okay. And anything that is in here can have a layer effect, or you can manipulate the opacity. So you have more options than you ever thought you could ever have, right? So copy, pasting these different elements. I'll select this one. I'll go to Edit, Free Transform. Okay, so this allows me to make my layers smaller. It also allows me to rotate. So maybe I want to do that. All right, so I'll rotate it and I'll place it on the top half. And for me to apply it, you can do done and it applies it, or you can hit return on your keyboard. Okay, and so you can see kind of like that. If you see that, like you get, as you can, when you look at my screen, right, you can see that the design, like we are not looking at the whole thing unless you want to see the whole thing, right? So I am purposefully cropping this. So that's something you can keep in mind when you're working on your flyer. If there's something that you want to keep or just frame a different way, you can do that. And then here, let's see if I want to cut off this little piece here, but I think I'm going to do something else. So I'm going to save, Command S, File, Save, or you can do the key command, Command S. Click OK. All right. And, for now, let's keep that there. I also wanted to show you that you can add text onto your layout, right? With the type tool, you select it, you click and drag, and you can manipulate. Okay. Right, so you can get your type tool. You can, when you type, right, it's another layer. So you can add, subtract letters. It's live. You can also, make your letters smaller. Okay, let's see. I'm going to save for now, right? Just want to save, so Command S. I also want to kind of stop here, right? Do these little video chunks. But in this video, you can see we've done kind of a lot, in the sense that from our blank page, right, we were able to cut and paste different elements from different images. And then we were able to rotate, using our free transform tool. And then we're able to change the order of our layers by clicking and dragging and adding text, right? So by no means is this final, right? In the next video, we'll finesse it a little bit more, and then we'll show you how to save, right? So I think I'll do another video of just kind of playing around with some of the tools, and then do one more video where you can actually see how the saving works so you can upload to Canvas. But for now, I think we're kind of moving along. Okay, so until the next video.